Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Take 5 for Torah. Today is August 20th to 26th of Av. And if it's Wednesday, that means we're asking the question, why do we do that? Related to something in the Parsha. This Parsha tells us about tithing, and it says, Aser to Aser, es kol tfuas zaracha hayotze min hasadeh shana shana. That you shall surely tithe your produce that the land produces each and every year. We derive from here that you should not tithe produce from one year based on the growth of another year. It's similar to the IRS. You can't write a check on January 3rd and apply that to the previous year's taxes. So this is true because it says shana shana. There is a dispute in the Gemara about exactly what we do tithe. The Talmud Bavli seems to say very clearly in the Gemara in Brachos that we have to tithe degoncha tiroshcha v'yitzarecha, grain, 5 grains, wine, and oil. Based on the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Rashi and Ramban add grapes and olives to that list that are Torah tithes, and we do tithe some other things, some other fruits and vegetables and legumes, in order to remember the tithing and to help the poor and the Levi and the Kohen, and those are rabbinic in nature. The Rambam, however, paskins a maximalist position because our pasuk says, "Es kol tfuas zaracha," whatever the seeds produce. So that sounds like a lot more than just grapes, olives, wine, and oil and grain. So the Rambam paskins like the Yerushalmi, that has a maximalist position of what we must tithe, which means whatever the earth produces. There are some exceptions to this; they have to have seeds, but this is the general principle. Because of aser to aser, and a similar pasuk like it, even in Bereshis, where Yaakov says aser asrenu, so aser means to tithe, 1/10. That's why in America the 10-cent piece is called a dime. To dime in Latin means to tithe. So a dime is a tithe of $1. So that's whenever you see a 10-cent piece, you know it's supposed to remind us of the mitzvah of giving 1/10 to tzedakah. There is a custom of giving 1/5 to tzedakah, 2/10, because it says aser asrenu, aser to aser. It says it twice, all right? So, and that's a general principle of Gemara in Ksuvas that says we don't have to expend ourselves beyond 20% in the fulfillment of any positive command. Tzedakah, of course, is a positive command. The word tzedakah itself gives a hint to this, right? Tzadik daled kuf hey. Tzadik to kuf is 90 to 100. God says if you have 100, you get to keep 90, give 10 to the poor. You are the steward of this 100. If you can give 10 to the poor, and keep 90 yourself. And then there's what's left in the word is a daled nehei. Daled nehei is 4 to 5, is you can keep 80% and give 20% to the poor. Okay, so the word tzedakah itself gives a hint to this idea of giving somewhere between 10 and 20% of our resources to tzedakah. There's also a Gemara in Yerushalmi that says that a poor person, if he has 200 zuz, 200 of the monetary unit. I'm not sure if we would agree with that. $200. If all someone has to is his entire name is $200, probably a person can use some money to pay for tefillin, tuition, doctor bills. But anyway, in the Gemara, it's 200 zuz, and the word tzedakah has the numerical value of 199. Okay. Also, aser to aser, based on the Gemara in Maseches Tainis, that we can create our own good fortunes by giving tzedakah. We can give tzedakah and actually test God, as a pasuk in Malachi says, "Uv'chanuni na bezos," that God can challenge God. Normally we say, "Lo tenasu es Hashem Elokecha," do not challenge God. But when it comes to giving tzedakah, such a beautiful mitzvah, we can. So if you take the word to aser to aser, you get it? Aser, tithe. The word to aser, tuf is 400, tithe that letter and you get a mem. Ayin is 70, tithe that letter and you get a zayin. Shin is 300, tithe that letter and you get a lamed. Reish is 200, tithe that letter and you get a chaf. So when you tithe the word ta'aser, you get mazalcha. You can create your mazel by being charitable.